Hades 2 will be a Nintendo Switch 2 console exclusive at launch. Nintendo Switch console exclusive, right?
Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch console.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch family of consoles. Hades 2 will be a Switch 2 console exclusive at launch. In a new creator's voice video, developer Supergiant confirmed that the game, which is also planned for other consoles, will first come to Nintendo Switch. The roguelike sequel, which has been in early access for some time, will come to Nintendo Switch 2 later this year, but no specific information was provided on launch date. In an update to the story, the Supergiant Games X account has issued a correction now claiming that the game will also launch on the original Nintendo Switch when it comes to version 1.0. I saw this as a headline on the run of show that you made.
Yeah.
And I was like, surely this can't be correct. Hades is a Nintendo Switch 2 console exclusive at launch? Yep. Why? What are we doing here? It's 2025. This is stupid.
Is it?
Yes.
Or is it business, Tim?
This is stupid business. I don't like this. I feel like once the floodgates open up, you released Hades on PlayStation and Xbox. Release the sequel everywhere.
But Hades launched on Switch.
I know.
As a console exclusive.
But then later came to the other consoles.
True.
I just feel like this is bad business.
Do you think, why do you think this is happening? Do you think this is Nintendo throwing money at Supergiant?
And I think that's silly. Because why? Why would Nintendo do that?
Why would Nintendo want Hades 2 as a launch exclusive for their brand new console?
I just don't. I don't think that's. I think
it sucks,
the tides have changed and shifted when it comes to this stuff. Like I still believe that exclusives are incredibly important and that they matter if they matter to your strategy and ecosystem. Nintendo, it's paramount to theirs. But we're talking about first party titles. I feel the exact same way about the Dusk Bloods. I'm just like, specifically because that, there's certain things that I'm like, I can argue for the exclusive making sense, and then there's ones I'm like, no, that being a multiplayer title, what are we doing? Get it everywhere. Give that the best chance of success possible. Hades 2, the fact that Hades 1 did come to the other consoles, I feel like this is it's not worth the business.
Yeah, I think the context to it, means a lot to how we receive this, because I do think that Hades 2 being announced a year and a half ago, right? We've known about Hades 2 for a minute. Many of us have played Hades 2 in early access already, and the hype cycle for Hades 2 has already begun, right? It's been going on for years at this point. When you then partway through that marketing cycle go, oh, and this is going to launch as an exclusive on a console, I think that then makes fans be like, oh, what the fuck? I'm a PlayStation guy or I'm an Xbox guy and I'm a big Hades fan, and you're telling me you're not going to launch my console because Nintendo gave you money or whatever it is, right? I think that's where the salt starts to set in a bit. I think maybe I'd feel different about it if Hades 2 was first announced at this Nintendo Direct and they were like, we got the deal, we're making this happen or whatever, and this was the first we're hearing about it.
Like a Bayonetta 2 situation?
Yeah. It would still be the same on paper, kind of, right? But I think the way you present it almost feels more like you're taking something away from the Xbox players and the PlayStation players, as opposed to being like, oh no, Nintendo is part of the big push for this new game that just got announced and all this stuff.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. We all know that therapy can feel like a lofty investment, but we also know that there's nothing better to invest in than yourself. The state of your mind is just as important as your physical health. Let's talk numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session, which adds up fast. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
I think for me, I feel like a bit, I guess, on both sides with it, where Hades 2 is going to come to Xbox and PlayStation probably, a year after it launches on Switch. Let's say sometime next year, since they're saying 2025 for Hades 2. So I think that gives me a bit of all right, we'll see it. I also I shouldn't assume anything, right? Because assumptions make an ass out of you and me. True. But I assume there's going to be some kind of cross save system. I assume you're going to be able to keep your progression because Hades on Switch 1 had the cross save between PC and Switch. And so, like, I don't know. For me, it's rough, but I do kind of view it in the same way as Dustbloods of like, all right, cool, like Nintendo got one. If I'm head of Nintendo, if I'm making business decisions at Nintendo and I see the opportunity to make Hades 2 an exclusive, I'm spending that money. I'm doing it.
I truly don't think it benefits Nintendo. Like, maybe it benefits Supergiant because Nintendo paid them. Cool. And like, get that bag, Supergiant. You're fucking amazing and you make amazing art. So get that money for sure. But I don't think that there's any world in which this causes it to sell more copies on Nintendo than it would by a dramatic effect. Than if it was on other consoles, then it's just like, then you're just going to make the money in more places. Like, we were talking about what potentially is going to be what is expected to be a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, do we say the same thing for Deltarune? Because Deltarune, this might be a year wrong, right? Is Deltarune coming to PlayStation and Xbox at launch?
I don't know.
That might be one for chat. Because I see it as, you're right, that I think this alone doesn't necessarily move the needle of getting Switches, selling Switch 2s, but I think it's the compounding effect
Switch ones, though, as well.
And like, Switch ones as well, right? But I think it's the compounding effect of, all right, we have Donkey Kong, we have Mario Kart, we have XYZ Nintendo game, but we also have Hades 2, and we also have Dustbloods, and we also have Deltarune, right? Like, I think when you start to like build this case of what Switch 1 was at the beginning of the Switch generation, which was like, okay, it's the Nintendo machine, but then also it's the best place to play indies. Like, this is the indie machine. I think that's an identity that I could see Nintendo trying to reclaim a bit for the titles that you already do associate a bit with Nintendo. I think Deltarune, for the previous chapters when it came to console, were coming to Nintendo at first. Again, this is a you're wrong for chat. But yeah, Hades, it's the same thing. From Software is new to Nintendo, but it's like, I think because it's not a sequel, it is kind of, it is this new IP that From Software has. It doesn't feel as crazy.
I'm only saying that from the multiplayer front when it comes to Dustblood. If it was just a single player From Software game exclusive to Nintendo, I get that.
Yeah.
That is trying to sell systems. That is worth it to Nintendo to pay because they're like, we were trying to get the From Software fans to buy a Switch 2 to play this game. Hades doesn't have that.
That's fair.
It just doesn't have that. Like,
you don't think the Hades fans are gonna you don't think this isn't gonna move Hades fans to buy Nintendo Switches?
No, I don't. I really don't, because I think the Hades fans, like that type of Hades fan, they're either already have the Switch 1, they can just play it there, or more likely they'll play it on PC, which I imagine that's the majority of people playing Hades is on PC to some extent, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this is a blunder.
It's random as hell. This is one where, yeah, waking up to this news this morning, I did go, oh, really? Like, that's how we're doing this? All right, cool. Like,
yeah. I mean, my bigger thing is like, I think that this is shitty. This sucks. Like, I'm shocked at how much the chat's not on my side about this, because people get so up in arms about exclusivism stuff. This is a perfect example of a game that does not need to be exclusive anywhere.
Yeah.
It should be playable fucking everywhere. If your Netflix account gets you Hades on a mobile device, like, why are we gatekeeping this?
I mean, that I agree with.
Right. That's
like,
crazy.
I think overall, for the gaming audience, like for the audience side, this sucks.
This sucks.
If you're a Hades fan that discovered it through Xbox on Game Pass or something, or you discovered it through PlayStation, or yeah, if you played it on Netflix on your phone, it's like, wait, why are we limiting this to just one console at launch?
Like, it's like, let's look at it from three different perspectives.
Sure.
One is from the perspective of the gamers. This sucks.
Yes.
Hard stop. One is from the perspective of Supergiant. I think they'd make, I don't know the amount of money Nintendo paid for this. I don't think it's going to be an amount that makes up for the potential sales otherwise that you would get with that big, everyone's playing this game and buying this game and talking about this game. Again, we're talking about Hades 2. We're talking about a known quantity. It's not like, maybe it's good.
Like,
it's like,
nobody
we
knows
know.
what this is.
So it's like, I think that there's some question there about like the money aspect. And then there's the side of Nintendo. Yeah, sure, it's good for Nintendo. Of course, anything to sell the Switch 2. Yes, it's a good move for Nintendo in that way because they have more exclusives and more things to push. But when you look at all that, I feel like in 2025 with how with the landscape of video games, this sucks.
Do you think for Supergiant it could be a thing as well of they're still an indie team, and so for them, like, slow rolling out to one console at a time is maybe easier for them as opposed to like trying to launch everywhere, because that's what they did with Switch 1.
I don't buy it though. Think of how much money they have at this point.
Oh, they got a lot of money.
They have a lot of money.
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, cool. Like, I don't know. There's something here of just like, we can like play the game of like imagining where the money goes and all that stuff, but like let's just fucking be real. They could do it if they wanted.
If they really wanted to push for all consoles, they for sure could do it.
Yeah.